Hello everyone, welcome to Reading with Reference. My name is Kim Christopher. I am a reference librarian with the Haverford Township Free Library, and just as with our other Reading with Reference videos, I am here to share some reading recommendations with you. So, starting off today, I have the book Shadows over Baker Street. And in this rather entrancing, fascinating take on Sherlock Holmes, ask yourself, what would happen if Sherlock Holmes didn't just battle the evils of man, but the supernatural? And then ask yourself further, what would happen if those evils came from the mind of H.P. Lovecraft? And going even further along that line of thought, envision in your mind every single version of Sherlock Holmes you've ever known, book, movie, comic, TV show, cartoons even, Think of all those versions, wrap them all together, add that supernatural element of H.P. Lovecraft, and you get Shadows over Baker Street. And this collection of short stories, it is just absolutely amazing what they did, all the authors did in this book. Under normal circumstances, I would have never have picked up this book, as I don't like short stories. I enjoy the, continuous narrative that goes on for that, 300 to 1,000 pages even sometimes. And I picked this up after learning that they had done a very successful graphic novel adaptation of the first story in this collection of short stories, Study in Emerald by Neil Gaiman. I can never say his name correctly, but yeah, it got me intrigued, picked up the collection of short stories, and I was just blown away by what they did with all these stories. They're so full of all those Easter eggs that those fan references that you might miss if you're not looking carefully enough. And having grown up, read Sherlock Holmes, watching movies, again, TV shows, cartoons, and all that, it's amazing. They are as faithful as they possibly can be to the original Sherlock Holmes mythos as established by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle in his original stories. And yeah, it's just that they added that supernatural element that gives it sort of a adventurous, different sort of tone, while again remaining faithful to what Sherlock Holmes was. And I'm not a fan of horror, and like I've said in previous Reading with Reference videos, but there's nothing overly too graphic, horrific in these short stories. Just little hints, enough that they keep you reading until the very end, so that you had to see how Sherlock Holmes, the greatest fictional detective of all time, instead of tackling a traditional, human being culprit, triumphs over this supernatural evil that, he was perhaps never meant to come across. And so, yeah. There's so much I can talk about and say about this book as to why I would recommend it, not just the elements I just talked about, but yeah, so I highly recommend Shadows over Baker Street, especially if you're a fan of Sherlock Holmes, diehard or a passive one, as it's full of all those wonderful Easter eggs, those favorite renditions of Sherlock Holmes, and if you're a fan of the supernatural horror genre, this is just full of all those horrific, terrifying thoughts that H.P. Lovecraft had when he created his own stories. And so, yeah, I highly recommend this as a read. And then here, my last recommendation, I have the original graphic novel, It Was the War of the Trenches by Jacques Tardi. And with this graphic novel, Tardi, he, basically, he just says, war is hell. There's no other way to put it. I guess another better way to put it is just think about every single great war movie in history you may have seen or have yet to see, wrap it together in graphic novel format, and you get War of the Trenches. He is blunt, to the point, no beating around the bush, just showing how terribly tragic, in particular World War I, was for those involved in it, the soldiers, civilians, everyone. And he does everything in this black and white artwork, all sort of rendered in this very sort of at times simplistic artwork you might find even in like the daily comics in the newspaper, or at times just so extremely graphic, like for example here on the very front cover where he's showing a dead soldier's brains oozing out of their head, just so graphic that it looks more almost like a black and white photograph that was taken at the time during World War One. And so yeah, I would highly recommend. It was the War of the Trenches. If you wanted to learn just how devastating World War One was as a conflict, and also if you didn't want, to go see that movie about World War One or read a book about it, even where they might have, I guess you could say, the theatrical flair for entertainment purposes. No, this graphic novel has none of it. Again, like I said, he's blunt to the point, showing that war truly is hell on earth. There are no happy endings, even when peace is declared, when all the fighting is ended. It is just, yeah, horrific. This is a very profound, moving graphic novel that I highly recommend. And also, again, going back to if you want to learn about World War One, even if you don't read the graphic novel, this is just an absolutely great resource for learning about everything about World War One, because at the end of the graphic novel, he includes a list, bibliography, a filmography of all the movies, documentaries, books, short writings, papers about World War One, so you can explore those on your own. And yeah, I wish I had the time to go through that entire list, see all the movies, read all the books about it, because I'm a history major or minor. But yeah, for now, all I can do is just, I highly recommend this as a graphic novel read. It is very profound and moving, I assure you. It's not for the faint of heart. And, well, that is everything I can say about these two recommendations I have. And until we see each other again next week in more of our Reading with Reference videos, please know that the library is now open. The hours are Monday through Wednesday, 10 to 8, Thursday, 10 to 6, and Friday, Saturday, 10 to 5. We do reserve the first hour from 10 to 11 for seniors and people with health problems. And also know that the regular requests are up and running, so you can request items like regular online. We still do our contactless pickup though, so you can also go online to the library website and request items for pickup. And, well, until we see you there again, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful day and take care.